Hey, Dr. Ryder Group. This is Eddie Knighton's campus analysis presentation number 3 on community colleges. I'm going to again begin with 2 apologies. The first is to Dr. Ryder because, yep, it's on Cape Fear Community College. I'm sure you've seen this 1,000 times. But my reason for choosing Cape Fear Community College is simply because I love community colleges. My best collegiate experience, I think, was when I went to AB Tech. It was my most energetic and academically curious era of my college. Second, as a GA at the Office of Registrar, I feel a lot of questions, see a lot of transfers for these students. I feel like I need to know a little more about it, and I need to go back when I have more time. Potential employment opportunities. It would be great to work there. I'm going to begin to apply for jobs there. And so the overview of this presentation, like the last 2, physical, aggregate, organizational, and social constructed environments. Quick fact, as the book notes, it was founded as Wilmington Industrial Center in '58, and like the book notes, it didn't emerge out of liberal arts. It was stated with a specific purpose in order to improve the community's declining post-war environment and economy. From the NCES site, mostly, women. Not as much women as a lot of colleges, but it's a majority women. It's still predominantly white, but I do feel from what I've seen that it is a diverse place. It's 100% admission, 0 application fee, so it is available to all, and procuring financing is very easy. So that's why community colleges are so attractive. Here's some more quick facts and pictures just to show that it did start with that vocation in mind. It was not necessarily a liberal art, had any liberal art intent. It was specifically for marine technologies and to help the unemployment and low income, which goes hand in hand with the lack of education from their website. Today, you can transfer to a college, you can finish your high school degree, you can continue your education programs and earn an associate's degree and start a career. And you notice from the academic departments, very few of them are humanities based or liberal arts based, so it's definitely for vocational training, which differentiates it from the other colleges. Aggregate environment. Community colleges, service 5 areas for transfer students to 4-year institutions for vocational training, developmental education for adult populations, providing lifelong learning opportunities, and providing venues for community. Cape Fear Community College, their mission verifies that vocational intention by saying that it is dedicated to providing a world-class workforce training and high-quality education to the citizens of these specific counties, New Hanover and Pender. It offers hundreds of continuing education courses and free programs for adult literacy, job skills preparation, GED, ESL, etc. Because it services Pender and New Hanover County, it's where we get our police. When I was there was a Department of Corrections graduation going on. We get our CNAs, our EMTs, and we provide training for all those people who go and work in our local businesses. So it is intended for our community. Physical environment. So located in the beautiful Cape Fear River in downtown, which if you are watching this video and you've never been to Wilmington, to walk the boardwalk and see the bridge, it's mesmerizing. And the college is integrated into Front Street to where literally it cuts it in half and you can just walk and have access to the shops and the restaurants of Front Street in seconds. So it's kind of part of that urban area and it's accessible. It's built up and not out, so it's kind of compact with very few buildings, but all the buildings are 5 stories. And because of the demographic of commuter students, it has 8 parking decks and parking lots, and very accessible for handicapped people, more so than any of the universities that I've reviewed so far. Physical environments. All the buildings are uniform, so if you know the layout of the 1st floor, you know the layout of the 5th floor. And even if you didn't, copious amounts of signs for wayfinding. And there's even signs pointing to signs and large poster boards instructing you. It wants to minimize the confusion. And I had no difficulties whatsoever navigating around the campus. As explicit indicators of physical and technological growth, you would have like an older building literally just sewn together with a hyper modern building, but both of which had disabilities in mind. And another thing about the physical environments is, although all the doors were unlocked, I could go and come anywhere I wanted to. There was a high police presence in the area, so it definitely felt safe, but it didn't feel like I was being surveyed like when I toured Coastal Carolina University. Um, it's intended for practicality, very limited outdoor spaces, very few, and very limited third spaces. In fact, this Port City Java was the primary one that I seen. Instead of having a lot of those spaces, it just had these random spaces periodically that's not necessarily intended to be a library or to host students, but it was just kind of places that you can go and make use of it however you want. The organizational environment, it's governed by the Board of Trustees. Their pictures are shown here. It's also on the website. They conduct all their meetings in this room with this symbolic glass wall where you can go and sit and watch. And it's ran by a president who has an office next to that that's also a glass wall that's partially transparent, but not. And I find that a little symbolic. Another thing I find interesting is that, he's sort of a mascot of what, minimal education could achieve. He's the president of this college and he only holds a bachelor's degree. He holds a bachelor's degree and some experience, and he's just been active in the county. So he's a symbol of what that college can do for you. In addition, what would it be if we didn't talk about the faculty and staff? It's rather controversial. Community colleges employ a disproportionately high number of part-time faculty. The book states that Hurt states 35% full-time, 65% part-time. And, we all know of people who are part-time faculty workers and are disgruntled about it. Cape Fear Community College is a little better. It looks about half and half, So it looks like they're really trying to minimize that disparity and that stratification. Because that stratification there, the fact that they only hire part-time employees, the whole reason that I negated getting a history graduate degree, because from a state school, the best that I could have expected is to be a part-time faculty, adjunct faculty at a community college, so that detoured that decision. The book also states that it's exclusively dedicated to teaching, so it's very, very little research output. And because of that, community colleges fall sort of in the tier system. It's intended to be the entrance to the tier system, and it's an entrance at the bottom. Any institution with a 100% acceptance rate doesn't have the highest academic rigor. So it's not controversial that it's marginalized and is very low in that hierarchy of the tier system. But the faculty and the staff, and to an extent even the students, definitely feel that marginalization. And that's got a lot to do with the amount of research and teaching that they do. Socially constructed environments. There were very few people there the day I went. It was summer hours. It was closed. And, the website, you can paints a very positive picture. I find that they never paint accurate pictures of socially constructed environments. So I'll just kind of take what I know about community colleges and from what I've read and from what I've talked to about people. Some negatives is it's got a high number of non-traditional students, and that's not negative in itself. That's actually very positive. It's what I wrote my entrance paper on when I entered the program here. But it's negative in terms of socially constructed environments, because I find that those people just kind of go to school and do the school thing, and then they go home to their families. They have more pressing needs. So therefore there's no dorms. Most community colleges don't have dorms. People don't live there. So people just come there and park to go to class and then leave. So there's more parking and less social spaces. You're less likely to just arbitrarily run into people and to make those social connections through the physical layout. Some of the positives of this, though, is that working in a community college, you're working with a mature and intrinsically motivated demographic. I mean, you have a lot of students who come in there at 18 straight out of high school because their parents force them to, and they can't handle college or they're not mature for college yet. And you see a lot of that, but also you see a high amount of non-traditional students who are very, very happy to be there. As a result, you see authentic diversity and not what, predominantly white institutions market as their supposed diversity. You see people of all races and ages and ethnicities. I mean, you know, you name it, you can meet them at a community college. So therefore, I think one of the biggest things about community college is it teaches cultural and social capital to those demographics, also people of low SES, what is expected of jobs, what is expected of higher education, what to expect when you transfer in, and just kind of how to play that game and kind of how to view yourself within that context. Cape Fear specifically, it has a lot of clubs. This is a very small part. It has some religious clubs, veterans clubs. It has a pride club, local political volunteer information. Here's the feminist club. In the Wilson Arts Center, you can see as to where the upcoming events. Very impressive, actually, and just as impressive as a lot of comprehensive universities that I've seen. Paula Poundstone, Lily Tomlin. So I guess the moral of what I'm trying to say there is that even though that socially constructed environment is more voluntary and you have to try harder to be involved, it is there for those people who choose a high level of participation. I'm going to end. I'm out of time, but I'm going to end. How do students feel? This is niche site, but I find that these reviews kind of mirror most of the reviews that I see. People love it. They love the street life, the location, the safety. When it starts getting to value and diversity and the overall academics, it tends to slip, but it is a community college. And you're typical, when you have more diverse demographics, you're typical to have more of a range in that bell curve. And in fact, I had to go to Yelp to find negative reviews, which, Yelp is essentially just a venting place for people to go and vent. So I disregard Yelp personally, but I show it here to contrast those overly positive reviews. Overall, I think that community colleges are excellent places to work and are excellent examples of what higher education institutes should be in a democratic society. I used the book, but the sources that weren't in the book was just from the website and from NCES and the pictures that I took. Thank you, and I look forward to your videos.